Hello, my name's Scott Davis, and welcome to New World Birth. This is the care and feeding of a New World Age report for the Gregorian date of December 16th, 2014, and one chee-chan, or serpent, in the Mayan Tzolkin calendar, with Mercury entering Capricorn, Uranus turning direct, the Sun entering Capricorn for the solstice and the new moon, and Saturn entering into Sagittarius. December 16th is one chee-chan, or serpent, and it carries the themes of unity, flexibility, fluidity, movement, creation of time, kundalini, bringer of rain, the sky serpents, blood lightning, passion, the life force that flows through everything, the energy connecting our primal root electricity to our spiritual expression and transcendence of duality, samadhi. Serpents are important in many different cultures, from Kundalini of the Hindi Brahmin chakra system to the blood lightning of the Mayan tradition, to the Greek serpent eating its own tail, representing life, death, and rebirth. Often associated with Gnosticism, it represents eternity. In China, the snake is replaced by the dragon eating its own tail. In Aboriginal Australia, the rainbow serpent is the guardian of life, fertility, water, and other precious resources. And of course, the Mayan god Quetzalcoatl is the feathered or plumed serpent, the god of wind, the giver of breath, and also the creator deity, as he descended into the land of the dead to gather up precious bones, which he sprinkled with his own blood to create humans. This 13-day period it is an important time to connect with spirit, to have faith in your journey, experience gratitude in the moment, and let love guide your actions. And before I get into the daily energy for Chicchan, or Serpent Trisena, on the 16th, all the planets appear to be moving forward from our vantage point here on Earth, with the exception of Jupiter and Uranus, which appear to be moving retrograde or in reverse motion. And remember, the themes of retrograde planets are the review of the past, reevaluate, reminisce, and we can see these themes being played out. Jupiter retrograde it's in Leo, so it's a review of opportunities, faith, religion, beliefs, and expansion. And Leo is about leadership, creativity, drama, entertainment, and children. And mostly what I find with Jupiter retrograde, as with any retrograde cycle, there's a review of the past. And with Jupiter, what gets reviewed are missed opportunities. And then Uranus in Aries is appearing to stopped at the opening of Chicchan, prior to appearing to move direct or in forward motion from the perspective of the Earth on December 21st at 12 degrees of Aries. And this is really seeking to shake the foundation of through the unexpected rebellion of the individual. And retrograde Uranus in Aries has had people wanting to hurry the process of getting free, to push the river of revolution, whether it's personal or political. And being an outer planet, Uranus creates events that we respond to. The inner planets affect us personally as individuals, but the outer planets really just change the landscape, which affects us as a collective and as individuals within humanity. And the big change during the Serpent Trisena is Uranus changing directions. With Uranus in Aries, it's slowed to a stop as it prepares to turn direct at 12 degrees and 34 minutes of Aries on December 21st. And when a planet is stopped, it's said to be at the peak of his power. So Uranus is at this peak of his power during December, and obviously this has been a difficult time of upheaval, destruction, death, unexpected change, natural disasters, um, violence and war. That's all themes that we see, particularly with the Uranus-Pluto square that was exact the day before this Trisena. And I think about this time. This is a time of detaching, represented by Uranus, to act as an unobstructed individual, represented by Aries. And I think about the day that Uranus changed signs, moving from Pisces into Aries on March 11th of 2011, and I always remember that was the day of the Japanese earthquake and tsunami, which crippled the Fukushima nuclear power plants, which are still unstable and spewing radiation to this day. And of course, Uranus rules uranium. Uranus in astrology forces us outside of our comfort zone so that we have to look at possibilities outside of the box. This is about unplanned experiences that disrupt our perceived or planned life path in order to move us forward in our spiritual evolution individually and globally. Uranus spends 7 years in a sign and leaves Aries for Taurus in 2018, but then it retrogrades back into Aries and finally departs for almost 80 years in March of 2019. And these 7-year cycles are about testing us to adapt to a new change. And we're currently experiencing the Aries test, which reminds me of this Krishnamurti quote that I like quite a bit. The only thing for humankind is the transformation of the only hope for humankind is the transformation of the individual, which brings us to the theme of Aries, the self, the individual, the new beginning. This time particularly impacts people who have personal planets in the signs of Cancer, Libra, Capricorn, and of course Aries, as these planets become doorways to something unexpected yet authentic, which sets the stage for the epic 7 challenging squares between Pluto and Capricorn and Uranus and Aries, which we've been discussing since 2012. And as individuals represented by Aries revolting Uranus against decaying power, Pluto structures Capricorn, which we've seen in almost every corner of the earth as individuals or groups protest oppression from the global elite. And I believe these uprisings will be successful in overthrowing the old regimes and patriarchy, but it's been an uphill fight for some time. And it's interesting to me that the last time that Uranus and Pluto squared was 1932 to 1934, and Uranus was in Aries as it is now. And we've talked about before that Mercury retrograde cycles repeat every 79 years. So we're currently repeating the 1935 Mercury retrograde cycle, which brings forward similar aspects that we see being played out in the event field. This is a time of great upheaval with events such as the Dust Bowl, which caused was caused by farming practices that stripped the soil, which, when the weather changed, destroyed the landscape. And today we're seeing the soil destroyed and crops becoming unhealthy for human consumption by the farming practices such as the use of Roundup and GMO seeds. In the mid-1930s, this was the time of the Great Depression, with internal power structures, leadership changes, and financial adjustments such as the New Deal programs under Franklin Delano Roosevelt in the United States from 1933 to 1936. Which was put in place as a safety net for the poor and unemployed, which are the same programs that the U.S. government is currently trying to dismantle. We see these themes being played out in many other countries at this time as well. And in thinking about the many environmental events facing mankind, whether they're man-made or natural, I'm reminded that Uranus is one of the original gods of the Greeks. He was the sky god and the husband of the earth goddess Gaia. And he was born out of the primordial chaos and came every night to cover the earth and mate with Gaia. Unfortunately, he hated the children she bore him and killed and imprisoned most of them until his son Kronos, or Saturn as the Romans called him, ambushed his father, castrated him, and cast the severed testicles in the sea, where they became Aphrodite, or the Roman version of Venus, the goddess of love. So, and after being disposed, the sky no longer covered the earth at night, instead held its place above the earth. Which I guess would be the beginning of being able to study the movements of the planets, and stars in the night sky. And after all, Uranus rules astrology. So, of course, Uranus in Aries has been playing out these really difficult squares with Pluto and Capricorn over the last few years, including April's cardinal grand cross with Mars in Libra and Jupiter in Cancer. And although Jupiter and Mars are no longer challenging the Uranus-Pluto square, we currently have Venus and then Mercury and then the Sun moving through Capricorn and activating the square by conjuncting Pluto and squaring Uranus during December and into January. Given that these heavenly bodies transiting Capricorn are moving quickly, they do trigger some challenging days throughout the month. And we just had the sixth of 7 Uranus-Pluto squares on December 15th, the day before the beginning of this trecena. So this is not quite as tense as it was back in April, but it still feels very uncomfortable, like a very uncomfortable amount of tension. And so let's look at the daily vibrational energy of this trecena. Since it's really difficult to change the signs of the sun in the middle of this report, I have the sun in Capricorn in the chart, which is where it's going to reach on the solstice on the 21st. But at the beginning of the trecena, the sun is in Sagittarius. So we would more look at the orbit, think about the handle being Earth, this being the line of sight. The Earth would be more about here in the orbit, where the sun is being projected against the constellation of Sagittarius in the tropical system. So December 16th is one Chicchan or Serpent. This is about unity experience through being flexible in the Mayan Tzolkin calendar, with Mercury entering into Capricorn. So we have Mercury moving into the sign of Capricorn from our perspective here on the Earth. And this adds momentum as planets are beginning to cluster in the sign of business, government, industry, and finance, where Pluto has been focusing on breaking down these systems since 2008. Mercury is in the sign of the goatfish, is serious about its communication and thinking. This begins a good period for business and thinking about our goals for 2015. I'm not going to be covering the daily lunar activity in these reports other than new and full moons, but that information is available on the New World Birth daily Facebook post or on the blogger New World Birth blog. On the 17th, it's 2 Kimi or transformation, duality experience through releasing what no longer serves us in the Mayan Tzolkin calendar. The 18th is 3 Manik or deer, taking action through being of service to others. The 19th is 4 Lamat in the Tzolkin calendar, which is represented as star or rabbit or Venus. Stability through being grateful for abundant relationships. And then on the December 20th, we have 5 Maluk or offering, which is empowerment through appreciating creation. And at this point, Mercury is in a sextile to Neptune. So from our perspective here on Earth, Mercury is forming a 60-degree angle with Neptune, which is very positive for stimulating imagination. It also brings greater sensitivity to the more subtle energies and psychic information. This would be a period of dreaminess where folks spend more time fantasizing. And withdrawal from life is not bad, and it's often important to feed the world within through inspiration, as the intangible reality is as important as the material world. There are times, this may be a time where we're more aware of, this may be a time where we are more aware of what's going on in the minds of others, because of the psychic qualities we see with Neptune, which might make it very difficult to keep our intuitions organized. Clarity and detail are not favored at this time. Also on the 20th, Venus forms a square to Uranus and conjuncts Pluto. So if you have moved along about to there, 12 degrees, and it's the same degree as Pluto, and it's at a 90-degree angle to Uranus. So this, for a few days before and after the 20th, uh, uh, Venus, this is really affecting us. Venus square Uranus has folks seeking excitement in their love relationships, and this can include picking a fight to experience a different aspect of interacting. In the middle of December is intense as we have the planet of love, but also money in Capricorn being challenged by the winds of change. And because Uranus is involved, this is unpredictable and can also be drastic with Pluto in concert. Themes of this energetic might be an unexpected stock market drop, or a change in spending due to scarcity, or a currency change in the oil markets where maybe the dollar is no longer the preferred measurement of value. On a personal level, folks are looking to do something exciting, out of the ordinary. So if your relationship has become dull or predictable, this is a time to inject it with a new experience rather than have it erupt into a fight about how we never do anything interesting. Basically, the less flexible people are in relationships during this transit, the more damaging this alignment is likely to be. And then, of course, Venus in conjunction to Pluto. This is, which is again active for a few days before and after the 20th. We merge the energy of romantic love with the energy of death and rebirth. Uh, and we may find that we get connected with ex-lovers, or we contact them or they contact us. But typically, if a relationship had problems before, thus becoming ex-lovers, reconnecting to a past romantic interest does not yield a sustainable relationship. So I encourage folks to fight the urge to merge with the ex. Regardless, this does intensify love experiences. Some feel insecure in their relationships, which can lead to feelings of possessiveness or jealousy. Venus transits are relatively quick, so be careful not to say something that cannot be corrected. And we no longer have Jupiter in orb of the Uranus-Pluto square, so we have lost that certain level of protection that Jupiter offered us. Also on the 20th, Mars sextiles Uranus. So Mars here up in Aquarius is forming a 60-degree angle with Uranus in Aries from our perspective here on the Earth, which is rather impatient and restless and not great for the daily routine because it desires new experiences and activities. Expect people to be more unpredictable for a day or so. This doesn't have to just be disruptive if you view it as a time to get out of a rut rather than feeling as though our expectations are not being met. This brings new insights, stimulating experiences, a new level of acceptance for people with different perspectives. During this time of Mars sextile Uranus, we have here we have Mars, and it's in Aquarius, which is ruled by Uranus. And we have Uranus in Aries, which is ruled by Mars. So what we're looking at is mutual reception between these two planets, and this can be seen as the planets are allies strengthening each other. And I would keynote these forces as unexpected action and aggressive upheaval, but also as assertive ingenuity and humanitarian drive. And then on the 21st, we have 6 Auk, or dog, which is about being in the flow through enjoying family and friends. And at this point, the sun enters Capricorn. So this is the point where the sun now moves into Capricorn, correcting the chart, bringing us the solstice, which is winter in the north and summer in the south. The solstice and equinox charts have long been used as predictors of the coming season. And here is the astrological chart for this solstice on the 21st of December 2014. So in the north, we're seeing that this is time where we're turning inward during winter and evaluate the growth and manifestations that we planted during the spring equinox back in March. In the south, this is a time of cultivating the intentions planted during the spring equinox in September. And when I consider the solstice chart, I look for the dominant alignments, which, sorry, I've got a cold I'm struggling with, which, of course, the Uranus-Pluto square is very strong, as we discussed at length, as being a force for transformation through rebellion. And on the solstice, the moon is applying to conjunction with the sun in Capricorn, with the new moon occurring 2.5 hours after the solstice. So the sun moves into Capricorn 2.5 hours later. The moon is in Capricorn, conjunct the sun at just 6 minutes of Capricorn, 0 degrees, 6 minutes of Capricorn. Lots of new changing energy here. And then Mercury in harmony with Neptune in the chart, excuse me, is imaginative, dreamy, and spiritual, and implies that spiritual and creative pursuits will be helpful during the upcoming season. Venus is squaring Uranus, merging with Pluto, bringing challenges over the next 3 months related to financial and aesthetic themes, with unpredictable and transformative results, with the final Uranus-Pluto square just days before the equinox in March. Excuse me again. Mars, stimulated by Uranus in mutual reception to in the solstice chart, will bring world events of aggressive revolt, even if the media is not covering them, covering what we know is already occurring. Overall, the next few months have opportunities for businesses and challenges at home, potential aggressive rebellion in the streets. And also on the 21st, Uranus turns direct. From our perspective, on the Earth, it's now appearing that it's moving forward. And it's been retrograde since July, which brings a time, it's bringing us a time of awakening. In concert with the solstice and the Capricorn new moon, and Uranus moving forward at 12 degrees of Aries, we slowly realize the powerful energetic that stimulates us to live more authentically, and adds more weight to seeking freedom, the seeking freedom side of the equation. Excuse me. And then also on the 21st, one more time here, we got the Capricorn new moon. And like I said before, it's at 0 degrees, 6 minutes of Capricorn on the 21st. It's being supported by Jupiter and merging with the sun in harmony with Neptune. And Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. This new moon represents new beginnings related to work, commitments, disciplines, elders, which might begin as limitation or an obstacle that must be overcome, or at least bypassed, so that the new energy can proceed. This lunation trine Jupiter brings people a pleasant sense of well-being and feeling of inner and outer equanimity. And then the sextile to Neptune influences us with greater sensitivity to others' emotions, with possible psychic impressions for those who are open. New moons bring an opportunity to set an intention for manifestation on the following full moon. So what you want to do is you want to look at your astrology chart and for the house that contains 0 degrees, 6 minutes of Capricorn to consider what area of your life is being activated by this new moon. For me, that's my 7th house of partnership and marriage, but also of one-to-one relationships. So I'd set an intention relating to using this energy as defining new ways to relate to the folks with which I have one-to-one relationships, whether they're romantic or business, through making deeper commitment or overcoming some limitation. Pluto is also in Capricorn, brings transformational elements to this new moon. So there is a transformative purpose aligned with the new opportunities that are opening up. And this moon is particularly potent for making big changes through taking a leap of faith during this numerological 1 month of new beginnings, leading us into 2015. Certainly releasing outdated limitations like removing your mask at the masquerade New Year's Eve party to reveal a greater awareness of your authentic self and new direction and purpose. And then on December 22nd, we have Seven Shuin, or monkey reflection through creating something new in the Mayan Tzolkin calendar. And then on the 23rd, we have 8 Ebb, or road, balance through serving your community, as the sun, as Saturn enters into Sagittarius. It's a big shift there. Which delays success until perseverance and patience will learn. Sagittarius rules travel, education, adventure, expanding our horizons, planning for upcoming festivities, ruled by Jupiter, representing faith, confidence, and abundance. Sagittarius resists responsibility and confinement, seeking to remain free. And Saturn brings more limitation to those themes, more of a need to plan, more of a need to persevere, more of a need to be patient, as I have been with this cold that's been holding on. This brings more focus to discovering new ideas, philosophy, being in the right place at the right time, and an overall quality of optimism. But Saturn brings the details to the grand overview of Sagittarius. And the proverb, "He who travels slowly travels far and gets there safely," is a great description of Saturn and Sagittarius. And Sag rules higher education, and Saturn brings hardship. So this might be, so folks might find that they're getting educated by the school of hard knocks. And with Pluto and Capricorn and Saturn moving out of mutual reception, we're likely to see more limitations on travel, particularly to places where Ebola is present, as Pluto rules plagues. Saturn in Scorpio has slowed the decay and collapse of governments, banks, and corporations ruled by Pluto, which is Pluto and Capricorn. So moving into Sagittarius means that the mutual reception will no longer protect those entities. And Saturn will eventually square Neptune in Pisces, which will further dissolve structures and rules. You might want to recall what was going on in your life from November of 1985 to February of 1988, when Saturn was last in Sagittarius, to consider how the shift might affect you over the next few years. And then December 24th is 9 Ben, or reed, or corn. This is about patience experience through maintaining the home. And Mercury in Capricorn is challenged by Uranus in Aries. So at this point, Mercury's really moved to 12 degrees of Capricorn, and forming a 90-degree angle with Uranus in Aries, which is a stressful alignment that pits the traditional thinking against rebellious new views on the 24th. And since outer planets tend to have more power, I believe that any rigid conservative ideas will be attacked and transformed or released to make room for more innovative concepts. This could be a time of increased protest with the potential of recklessness and violence. Personally, this can be quite stimulating, bringing fascination for new phenomena. Flexibility is the key with this transit because the more rigid our thinking, the more nerve-wracking the effect. Expect the unexpected, surprises and upsets, and you'll have a better chance to go with the flow, which may mean that the plans for that day do not work out as expected. Epiphanies are more likely, so you may want to capture your genuine thoughts in some form of record keeping to examine in the days that follow. The pace is fast and it can lead to sloppiness. A day to be careful of making sudden, unexpected moves where accidents are more likely under this influence. And then on the 25th, we have 10 Ish or Jaguar, which is manifestation through enjoying nature. And at this point, we've got Mercury conjunct or merge with Pluto at the same degree of Capricorn, which manifests mental activity and intensifies it, and a penetrating quality to communications, along with having a critical eye for what needs to be transformed in our environment. And this could be challenging for folks celebrating the holidays with increasing intensity. On a mental level, there is a penetrating quality to go deep in discovering the truth, but subjective truth. But this is where superficiality really is not going to cut it. It also indicates a capacity to influence others and speak with persuasive voices. People will present opinions as facts, believing that they are right and the other is wrong. So be careful who you engage with under this transit, as many will make statements with no regard for the feelings of the listener, which may be interpreted as threatening. This can also bring more acute powers for penetrating analysis of human nature, which is best not shared without invitation. Let's not forget that this transit is affecting everyone, so we're likely to be the recipient of these behaviors from others, as well as being the perpetrator. Probably the best use of this transit is to get preoccupied with a project or idea that you can work on independently from others, and wait until another day to share your experiences. And then on the 26th, we have it's 11 men or eagle in the Mayan Tzolkin calendar, a resolution through seeking higher perspective, with the Capricorn sun and harmonizing with Neptune in Pisces. 60-degree angle, which is a pleasant flow between our conscious world and our spiritual world through intuition, imagination, meditation, and creativity. It also brings sensitivity to the energies of people and circumstances in your environment. We are more compassionate to the needs of others and also more willing to help them than usual. Neptune lowers the ego demands of the sun, which allows us to be more open to the expressions of others. Service brings satisfaction under this transit. Spiritual and mystical aspects of life grab more of our attention during this period. Great energy to take space out of your normal routine to meditate or spend some time in nature. This transit tends to lower energy, so it's not a good day to start some Herculean new project. Do something that improves your spiritual well-being. This is like the energy that transformed Ebenezer Scrooge in Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. And then on the 27th, we have 12 Keeb, or wisdom, which is about understanding through introspection, meditation, and forgiveness in the Mayan Tzolkin calendar. And then on December 28th, we have 13 Kaban, or earth, move into the next stage through gratitude for Mother Earth. And then that wraps up the Tricentum. So no matter what the energies that are affecting you during this one Serpent Tricentum, take some time to be in the flow of the planet by being in nature watching a sunrise or a sunset, communing with the stars, being conscious of the moment through introspection and meditation, or being with somebody you truly love and being conscious with them. Uh, every day we have is a blessing, no matter what dramas beckon to distract us. We're all here just giving the performance of a lifetime on this world stage. Just take some time to observe the play as well as act your part by remembering you're a spiritual being that's having a human experience. And as always, I want to thank you for checking out New World Birth. The next segment of the care and feeding of a new world age will be on December 29th for one Etsnob or Flint with Venus entering Aquarius, followed by Mercury entering Aquarius and the Cancer full moon. And you can check us out on Facebook, YouTube, or the Mind Magics website. And I encourage you to share this information as videos or as texts as widely as you choose. As always, I invite you to contact me at newworldbirth@yahoo.com if you have any questions or wish to schedule a reading. And I am providing readings and wish to make this service available to the greatest amount of folks. So I've created 3 options with 3 levels of compensation. So if you've been thinking about getting a reading, please contact me. I would love to provide you a reading during these uncertain times. You'll need to either be able to call me in Maine in the USA, or we can connect with Skype to receive your reading. We're also accepting donations to keep these reports freely available. And if you want to make a donation, again, contact me at newworldbirth@yahoo.com. As always, I'm blessed that you've taken the time to connect with my passion for all these ancient mysteries and their application to our journey during this incarnation. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste. In Lakesh, and much gratitude that you've taken the time to connect with what we're offering here. It really is a pleasure to serve you, and look forward to connecting in the future. All my best to everyone.